Hello and welcome to a new video on my channel. I am pretty excited because today we're gonna learn about two new features brought to us by the new SwiftUI version. The first one will be the label that will allow us to put together an icon and a text without having to align them and mesh them. And we'll build this setting screen by building this menu, and also when you click on one of the items, I just implemented the terms of service, the terms and conditions. When you click on it, it will open a full screen content and you will see how this covers the full screen. Here we have the terms of service, and here when we click on the button we can close the full screen page. For the other sections, it's work in progress. So stay tuned because next week I will publish a longer video in which we're gonna build this screen and we're gonna build these transitions and this details page using the new match geometry effect. So enough talking, let's get started and let's start building this screen. So we'll start by creating the settings view. As you can see here, now we have only a text view. We'll go here to views, right click and new file. We select SwiftUI file. We'll give it the name settings view. And we'll name this settings. Now we'll go back to the content view and replace this text with the settings view. Like this. Now if we hit resume, we should see settings view here displayed. If we go back here, now we see settings. What we want to do next is go to the custom nav bar and copy the profile image and head back here to the settings, and let's bump it up and give it a width of 150 and a height of 150, and now it looks better. Let's wrap everything inside the VStack, and we could add another VStack, and inside we're gonna add the text and we'll add my name, Andrei D. For this we're gonna use a font of title, and for the font color value we're gonna use primary. We can add also a subline and we'll say text, and here we can write something like member from 2018 or maybe since. And for this we're gonna use a font of sub headline, and for the foreground color we're gonna use secondary. Here we could add a spacer, and maybe we could add also a padding here. Now let's create our menu list, but first let's go create a new model. So we'll say new, and this time we're gonna select a Swift file and we'll name this file setting item. Okay, and now we're gonna use as usual a struct to define our model, and the name of the model will be settings item, and this will confirm to identifiable, and we'll say var, and we're gonna give it an ID, and we're gonna initialize the ID. Then we're gonna need a name that will be a string. We'll need an icon that will also be a string, and we're gonna need a view name to know which view to load when we press on a menu. So we'll say view name string. I already added items inside of an array and I will just paste it here. I have a typo here, so this will be settings with an N. Okay, so we'll have purchase history, my cards, my reviews, my addresses, account settings, and terms and conditions. The icons are the ones that are provided inside the FS symbols application, and here you can search for each of the icons. We'll move along and we'll create the list of the items by going back to the settings, and here we're gonna use a list, so we'll say list, and inside the list we're gonna use a for each, and we'll go from 0 to the last item, so we'll say settings items and dot count. This for each will give us the index of each element. And now we're gonna use a new view that's brought to us by the next version of SwiftUI. We're gonna use a label to align an icon and a text. So before we needed to add an haystack and align it and align the icon with the text. Now we can use this label. And here you can see we can pass a string title and an image name, or here we can pass a title and the system image, and this is what we're gonna use. So for the item name we're gonna say settings items, and here we're gonna pass the index to log to the current item, and then here we say dot name, and this is how we access the name of the item. For the system icon, we're gonna get it from our array, and we'll say icon. And now you will see if I hit resume that we'll have a list of items that looks pretty well. I really like it. Also here we'll add a spacer to have an empty line, and we'll add another label that's not on our array, and we'll say label, and for this label the string will be log out. And for the system image we're gonna use person.fill. Yeah, it's spacer not space, my mistake. So now you see we have a spacer between the first list of items and the logout. Okay, now let's bump the font a little bit, and we'll use title 3 here just to see the items better. And you can see that the icons and the text are perfectly aligned. Moving on, we will go and create a view that will be shown in the full screen cover. I will create this view here, then we're gonna move it to its own file. So I will say struct, and the name of the view will be terms of service, and this will conform to the view protocol like this. And to satisfy the requirements we'll say here body. We are all good. We just need to pass text with some string in it, and we'll say terms of service, and for this we'll use the large title font, and we'll wrap this inside a vstack, and we'll add another text, and for this we'll use the body font, a lorem ipsum text. I will just paste it here just to have some content to this view, and we can also give some padding to this vstack. Okay, and now we'll move on to use another new feature from iOS 14 and the new version of SwiftUI. We'll use the full screen cover modifier, and we'll say dot full screen cover, and we'll select this constructor with is presented on dismiss and the content. So for the is presented we will need to create a state variable over here. So we'll say state var is subpage active, and this will be false by default. Let's say this is a bool. Okay, and also we'll need to know which view we need to load inside our full screen cover. So for this we're gonna use another state variable, and we'll name this active page, and for the moment this will be empty and it will be a string. Now let's use this. So we need to pass this state variable as a binding, and we're gonna use the $, and we'll select is subpage active, And on this miss, we want to make the active page empty. So we'll say active page equals to an empty string. And for the content, we're gonna use another new feature of the new SwiftUI version. We're gonna use a switch inside our view. We'll say switch and active subpage, and we're gonna say case equals with terms view. Then we're gonna display the terms of service view. I could add also here view and also rename it over here. And for the moment we don't have any other views, but we could add here on other cases, maybe for purchase history, cards, reviews. And also by default we'll provide a text and we'll say work in progress, and we'll wrap everything inside a VStack. At the bottom we'll add a button. We'll say close full screen page, and we're gonna toggle our variable, so is subpage active dot toggle. And you also see we don't need to use self inside the closure. And I forgot to add on tab gesture to our label. So here we'll say on tab gesture, you need to tap once, and we're gonna perform this is subpage active dot toggle. And also we'll say active page will be equal with settings items of index, and here we'll say view name, like this. And now it should work. So if we click on the purchase history, we see that yay, it says work in progress and close full screen page. If I click on it, it closes it. If you click on the terms and conditions, you will see the terms and conditions page like this. We can make it even prettier. We could say alignment and put it leading, provide a spacing of 10. We can add a spacer like this. We also need here use the alignment like this and remove it from here. Now if we click on this work in progress, here you can see the terms of service. Of course you could add this close screen button over here like an X, exactly like we have done in the other sections. So if we go here and see our items, if we click on an item, you see here we have the nice close button, and yeah, you could put that. But the purpose of this video was to show you how to use the new label view to align an icon with a text without having to create an h-tag and try to align everything, and also how to use the full screen cover. I hope you really enjoyed the video and you learned something. If you did, hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get more news from my side. Until the next time, I wish you all the best.